So here's our natural minor scale that we learnt about in the last lesson. As you can see, it uses all of the white notes, or the letter name notes, from running from A to A. And obviously we can build a natural minor scale on any note of the keyboard if we want to. But as I said before, there are a couple of other sort of flavours of minor scale that we sometimes use, and sometimes if you ever do exams on an instrument, I remember when I did piano exams, I had to learn lots and lots of different minor scales and some of the different flavours of minor scales as well. So in this lesson we're just going to have a look at the differences between the scale I just showed you, the natural minor scale, and what is called the harmonic minor scale. So let's put it in here. Harmonic minor scale. The only difference between the natural minor scale, which we have here, you can see it takes 7 steps from the A down here up to the A at the top, and the reason I've not put an 8 in here and I've just put a 1 is that we try to get the idea in that it sort of repeats. So the idea is we go from A and we go through the 7 different notes of the scale, so we go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then we get back to A again. So putting a 1 in there just reminds us that it is a repeating pattern that's going to keep coming back. If we keep moving up along the piano, we're going to keep seeing the same pattern coming up again and again. Now the only difference between a natural minor scale, the one we've got here, and the harmonic minor scale is that we introduce a sharpened 7th note of the scale. So I'm going to use that sharp symbol again. You see it here on the keyboard, and I'm going to use it here just to say that in this scale we're going to take the 7th note of the scale and make it 1 semitone higher, make it into a sharp, make it 1 semitone higher than it would normally be. So to transform this natural minor scale into a harmonic minor scale, we're going to take this G, which would normally be a G natural in the natural minor, and we're going to make it a sharp by moving it 1 step up. So I've just updated our scale here to show this new harmonic minor scale flavour that we've just been talking about, and all I've changed, so the only difference is I've moved this 7th step of the scale up 1 semitone to a G sharp. And so let's have a listen to what that sounds like. Many people say this flavour of minor scale reminds them maybe of a kind of exotic sound, something from a long way away, but maybe something from the east. Mainly that's because of this step between the F, the G sharp and the A, because it reminds people of music from other parts of the world that maybe uses slightly bigger steps in scales. Because don't forget, up to this point we've only ever used steps of tones and semitones in any of the scales that we've built, but this one's using a bigger jump, a jump of a tone and a half, a tone plus a semitone, or 3 semitones to get from the F up to the G sharp. That's a much bigger step than we've used so far in making a scale. So you could use it for that. It's very useful to, if you want to try and produce some kind of an exotic sounding flavour to your music, sometimes this is a good scale to use. But the main reason that people use this scale and learn about it in this way is to make harmony. That's why it's called the harmonic minor scale. Harmony, which we'll be looking at in much more detail later, is when we start to use other notes rather than just single melodies. Up to this point, you know, we've learned about scales, and we could build a scale in a particular key. This is just a melody that I'm improvising using the notes of the A minor scale. But say I wanted to involve other instruments, or maybe write for an orchestra, I need to be able to produce harmonies where I use lots of different notes to support the melodies that I'm composing. Well, to do that, a lot of the time we need to use chords taken from the notes of this harmonic minor scale. But don't worry too much about this at the moment. It's just useful in case anyone ever asked you in a music exam or anywhere else, please play the A harmonic minor scale. Now you can say, yes, of course I can. Here you go.